WhatsApp group. Before starting the discussion, like as always, let us remind ourselves about all the meritorious deeds that we have done during this lifetime, as well as during this samsaric journey, especially towards Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. This immeasurable meritorious power may create the perfect background for everyone to understand the Arya Dhamma, completing all the 4 requirements to become Sotapanna, or to open up the eyes of wisdom, and to complete the rest of the pathway. All the meritorious power may agglomerate together, creating that perfect environment. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And during this samsaric journey, we might have done various immoral, unwholesome deeds towards worldly beings as well as towards Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. If we have done any of those unwholesome acts, let us acknowledge our faults. In Buddha Sasana, the forgiveness is accepting our faults and determining, wishing ourselves that we are not going to do those kind of bad, unwholesome acts again. When we do that, when we understand our faults and when we decide that we are not going to do that again, that is the turning point which changes our samsaric journey as well. So we are going to acknowledge our faults, thinking that, imagining that Supreme Buddhas are in front of us, and we are acknowledging our faults in front of Supreme Buddha, deciding that we are not going to do those kinds of immoral, unwholesome acts again. With this idea, accept it with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So today, I think we have received several questions from the last week as well as this week. We'll go through the questions first, and after reading the question, we'll go to the discussion. So the first question we got, I think, is this one. I have a question about verse in Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam. There is a verse in which Tena bhikkave bhikkhuna danta vidan. The English reading part is a bit difficult for me because I am used to read it in single letters. So I hope I'll read the translation of it. With teeth clenched and tongue pressed against the roof of the mouth, they should squeeze, squash, and crush mind with mind. This verse has only this apparent meaning of meditation technique, or it also has more profound meaning about controlling our mind, like Aranyagatowa and Nisidati Pallamka, which was learned last week. Please let us know. So that was the question. If you can read it on the chat as well. It was posted on 23rd January. So since this Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam might help in answering following questions as well, we'll go through the Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam from the beginning to the end. It is a methodology preached by Supreme Buddha to get rid of raga, dosa, and moha. And this is the last part, which is discussed here, which is posted in the question, was the last technique of it. There are 5 techniques in that sutta that we can use to get rid of raga, dosa, and moha. So the first one is, when we get a thought based on raga, dosa, moha, the first technique is we have to think about something like Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati, Chaganusati, Silanusati. Something good, something wholesome, something related to Sasana or Buddha Dhamma. So when we do that, that unwholesome, or we can say akusala chitta, akusala mindset would go away. Instead, we would be developing with savitakka vichara instead of vitakka vichara. So that is one technique. So the example given in the sutta is, if you have seen these carpenters, I don't know whether you have those kinds of nails there in your country, but here when they create these chairs, tables, they use a wooden something like a stopper to make the table or the chair fixed. So it is like a nail, a wooden nail. So this wooden nail is actually thick in one end and thinner. It gets thinner when it goes to the other end. So you keep the thin end to the hole that you are going to put the nail, and you hit on the head of the nail. So since the girth of the nail increases, it gets clogged in the hole, making a perfect fit. So if you want to remove this nail, what you have to do is you have to get a smaller nail, and you have to use that smaller nail to get that bigger nail out. You have to thrust towards the opposite side, from the opposite side. When you put force from the opposite side, the nail comes out. So just like that, when you have a raga, dosa, moha, chitta, that is the bigger nail. So you have to get rid of the bigger nail. What you do is you use a smaller nail. When you use the smaller nail, that bigger nail comes out. This is how one would achieve dhyana as well. So that is why initially it's savitakka savichara, priti sukha ekaggata. So when savitakka savichara is on place, vitakka vichara cannot occur. So initially you start by creating savitakka savichara. Your mind is occupied. Your mind always thinks about something wholesome. Buddha qualities of Supreme Buddha. So Arahang, Samma, Sambuddha, likewise, it is a way to get rid of these raga, dosa and moha thoughts. So if you have done that, if you have seen this sutta called there's a sutta, Dajagga Sutta. So in that also, Supreme Buddha says, if you feel fearful, if you feel um, feared or some agitated, maybe those feelings, raga feelings, you just remind about Supreme Buddha's qualities. So karma, fear is a name, another name for karma. So in that sense also, you can use in an instance where there is karma, you can just recite this verse, these sounds, which is the qualities of Supreme Buddha. When you do that, that karma thought would go away. And that is practical. You can do that and you will see the results. But you have to have an idea about these vitaragi, vitadosi, and vitamohi qualities. Otherwise, it would work even though you don't know. But the effect is more when you have an idea what you are reciting. So that is the first technique to get rid of raga, dosa, moha. So why do we want to get rid of raga, dosa, moha? Because elimination of raga, dosa, and moha is nibbana. Ragakyo nibbana, dosakyo nibbana, and mohakyo nibbana. So that's what we are going to do. So that's why this becomes a whole one technique that or a method that you can use up until the end of the pathway. So this is one. And he again explains, if this does not go away with thinking about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, or Chaga. Chaga means the generosity of you within you, and Sila means the Sila nature or the virtuous nature in you. So when you think about these things, it should go away. If it does not go away, then you go to the second step. You are just not lost yet. You have to go to the second step. It is just like when you are trying to go up a hill using your manual gear vehicle. So you are in the, let's say, third gear, and in the third gear, you misinterpreted the inclination. So you thought you can drive up the hill in the third gear, but you can't. So the vehicle is going to stop now. So what you do, you shift the you do a gear shift, and you put the gear to the second gear or second one. So the second one has more power, so you can easily climb that mountain. So likewise, if the first one did not work, then you go to the second one. What is there in the second one? In the second one, Supreme Buddha says, you have to think about the adinava. And the example given is something like this. If a carcass, dead carcass, or a human carcass, or a carcass of a dog or a snake was hanged around your neck, that kind of a feeling would come about the raga, dosa, moha when you think about the adinava. So you have to think, what would happen if I think like this? What is the result of raga? What consequences would this raga give out? What consequences this dosa would give out? So when you have an idea, when you think about that side, the negative side, when you are thinking about the positive side of raga, dosa, moha, You're always thinking with avijja, and you always get trapped in dukkha, trapped in suffering. And it would eventually, and starting from the beginning to the end, you would be suffering. But when you think about the negative side, the adhinava, you would understand that this is not what I want. You don't want a dead carcass hanging in your neck. So that thought would go away. That is the second step. But if that does not go away, even with the second step, so we'll go through an example after discussing all of this. So if the second step also did not work, go to the third one. Third one is just try not thinking about it. Try to think about something else. Do not think on that pathway. Do not start that train of thoughts. Think about something else, or just stop thinking about it. That is the third one. That is, if you cannot stop the raga dosa moha with the first two techniques, then you go for the third one. It is just like when somebody has opened, or a person is just looking outward and he is seeing something that he does not like. Let's say somebody is hurting someone, or killing somebody, or doing something immoral, and you don't like to see that scenery. So what do you do at that point? If you cannot move, you just close your eyes. If somebody is saying something that you don't want to hear, you just cover up your ears, or just leave the scene. Just like that, what you do with your thought process is something just like that. So you just forget about it. You just ignore it. Just think about something else. You just do not start that train of thoughts. So that is third one. So if the third one also does not work, you try to forget about it, but it pops back up, and it is starting to feel uncomfortable. Nothing seems to work. Even the forgetting part does not seem to work. So then comes the famous Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam. So this is a very unique technique. So we know the other techniques. In most of the suttas, these first three techniques have been discussed, but the last two is unique to this sutta. I have not seen this two specific techniques in other suttas. This Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam has a very nice logic. It is based on your idea about how vijnana occurs. If you have this idea how a vijnana occurs and how a vijnana develops, you would understand this technique right away. How does a vijnana occur? The reason for vijnana is sankhara. So avijja pacca sankhara, sankhara pacca vijnana. When a vijnana is created, more sankhara you do would make the vijnana more powerful. So that is the technique used here. So what do we do when you are practicing Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam? We'll go through the example which was given in the text, and then we'll discuss. So in that text, it says, if you are running, think to yourself, why am I running? Then you would stop running. But since the power is not, or the need for running or the need to do that act, need to go somewhere, has not still gone away. But you have gotten rid of the need to run. So you are not running, but you are walking. You want to go somewhere. Let's say you want to go to the town, and you are running towards the town, towards the shop. And you are thinking to yourself, why am I running? There's no need to run. Then you would start walking, because the ultimate goal of going to the shop has not still addressed or has not still seen correctly. So you are just still going. And you are thinking, why am I going? Why am I walking? Then you would start, and when you reason out, we are thinking about raga dosa moha here. So you are thinking rationally with wisdom, in using anicca dukkha anatta. So why am I walking? So then at that point you would stop walking, but you are still looking at that direction with the thought of going to the shop or going to the town. At that point you would think, why am I looking at that direction? Why am I thinking about these things? And you would stop thinking about it as well, and you would stop looking at that area as well. So in the original example, so you were running and you stopped down to walking, and from walking you are just standing, and you are thinking, why am I standing here? And so you sit down, and when you sit down, why am I sitting down here? And you, from that you go to the sleeping posture, the supine posture. So just like that, you just divided the whole process into sankhara, and you addressed each of the sankhara from a descending order. So the first one is more powerful, which is running, and walking is less powerful, standing is and getting lesser and lesser powerful, and you would stop the sankhara that way, because initially you could not stop it with just forgetting about it. So you had to divide it, separate it, and address separately on different levels. So that is Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam manasikara. So the last one, if that also did not work, then you go for the last resort, which is, as mentioned in the text, you don't get a special meaning as such, a hidden meaning or something, but there are important points hidden in that text. So clenching your teeth, thrusting your tongue towards the upper palate, and that does that helps concentration. That's why that's why that part is mentioned there. So you do that, and you are trying to hurt that mindset, or you are trying to blame that mindset, raga mindset, dosa mindset, and moha mindset. The example given in the text is, two strong individuals are trying to, or not two individuals, a strong individual is just hitting somebody. A weaker person just throws that person here and there and hits him in the stomach, in the head, in the chest, on the chest. Oh, he does whatever he likes. Just like that. Just hurt this or blame this akusala chitta so that it will not occur. So there are three ways that you can do this. This is explained in Anguttara Nikaya, Tikka Nipata. There's a way, and in that text it says three ways. One is Attādipatya, Other one, the second one is Lokadipatya, and the third one is Dhammadipatya. So these are the three methods that you can use to blame this mindset or raga dosa moha. You're just not going to get angry about yourself and just try to hit yourself or just try to hurt yourself or harm yourself. Nothing like that. This is not about eliminating dosa with another dosa. This is something done with wisdom. This blaming is done by the teacher of Dhamma within ourselves. We have a teacher in ourselves. When the eyes of wisdom are opened in somebody, at that point, all the indriya systems, saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, are activated. And when these indriya systems are activated, you, a virtual teacher of Dhamma, is created in your mind. This is not a real one. This is an imaginary person. It's not actually even a person. We are just using an analogy here. So your mind just knows what to do. This is not right. Don't go there. Don't use this. Don't eat this food because it would increase your raga. Don't say this thing because it would increase your dosa. And you have that mindset which says what to do and what not to do. You have that mindset deciding, giving you decisions that you should not engage in these kinds of these things, and you should engage in these things. And that is what we call the teacher of Dhamma within oneself. So that teacher of Dhamma would we would be using that teacher of Dhamma, or actually Dhamma, the understanding of in ourselves, or the wisdom in ourselves. We would use that wisdom for this blaming thing. So we use this wisdom and we blame these thoughts, raga, dosa, and moha, with wisdom. So there are three types as explained, as said. Attadipatya. What is Attadipatya? We'll start with Lokadipatya. Lokadipatya means when somebody became a Arya person, or a, let's say, upasaka or a upasika. So your aim becomes attaining Nibbana. And you have devoted your life. You have dedicated your life towards that. And you have promised yourself that you would somehow you would get rid of raga, dosa, and moha and eliminate this sansaric journey as soon as possible. And a raga chitta, a desa chitta, or a moha chitta has arrived as now hurting you, is jeopardizing your plan. So at that point, you think about the Lokadipatya. Lokadipatya means other people. There are individuals who has divine vision. They can see what I am doing. There are divine, there are unseen spirits that can see what am I do, what I am doing. And there are Aryas who has divine vision. And there are my relations, dead relatives, deceased relatives who can see what I am doing. And there are many people. Though I think I am alone, though I am thinking I am in a private area, or do I think my thoughts are private to me? That's not the case. People are seeing what I am thinking, and what I am thinking is not good, and this is not how it should be. I should be afraid of the worldly blames. So the world would be blaming me What is this person doing? This person knows what is right and what is wrong. He or she says that he or she obeys and obliged to or is dedicated to ending this sansaric journey. But what this person is doing? This person is acting opposite, saying something else and doing something other than that. So that would be your thought process, and you would not entertain that thought thinking about lokadipatya. So if it is for some people, some would not care about the loka about the other people. How other people think would not be a problem for them. So there are people like that. So it is not only one method, you have three. The second one is attadipatya. So some would say, I am a person, I am a genuine person. I decided that I should end this sansaric journey somehow. I should not waste my time on other things. Now what am I thinking? These raga thoughts, these dosa thoughts, these moha thoughts, it does not suit me or my way of life. I am an Arya. I should not have these kinds of thoughts. And your atta means self. So you are thinking about yourself and you are getting rid of those bad, unwholesome thoughts. So you are a person of, you are a genuine person. You are a person with who has your word. You're not going to just spoil that. That would be your mindset. So some people even don't care about themselves as well. So that for those people, you have the third method, which is Dhammadipatya. Supreme Buddha, after spending so much time in the sansara, at the end, after completing all the paramitas, became Supreme Buddha and taught us, preached us pure Dhamma that can eliminate the sansaric journey. And that Dhamma is visible. Dhamma is there in this world, still there. The pure Dhamma can be found. And I found it. And I know how to end this sansaric suffering. I know the pathway. I just have not ended it, or I have not completed it, but I know how to do it. And if I am having these raga, dosa, and moha thoughts, I am just putting that Dhamma down, not doing the necessary worshipping to that Dhamma. Necessary the importance is not given. I am just putting it down. So I should not do that. I should not put down a Dhamma that is so valuable. I should be ashamed of myself and I should stop having these raga, dosa, and moha. So that is Dhammadipatya. So you think about Dhamma, and thinking about Dhamma itself would blame your raga, dosa, moha thoughts and get rid of those thoughts. So that is the three methods that you can use. So you think about doing that when nothing works. So these are the 5 methods. So you have to go with the order. So you have an order from top to bottom. The most easiest, the easiest one is actually the first one. If you have good sati, good mindfulness or sati, and if you have practiced this Dhamma for a little bit of time, and if you have developed samadhi as well, the first technique would be more than enough. You think raga, dosa, moha, something comes. Let's say you are thinking about something of raga, this music or a song, music track or something, and this is running in your head. Now you think about Arahang, Samma Sambuddho, Vijjaya Charana Sampanno. These thoughts, when you do that for few minutes, that thought would be gone and it would work. That would not come back again. That is one method. It is the easiest one. Sometimes the easiest one does not work. So you go for the second one. Now you go to the Vipassana and you can see how sound, before listening to this song, how your mind was so calm and quiet. Now when you have started listening to or you thinking about this song, now it is non-stop ringing in your head. Then you can get rid of that mindset. It is very uncomfortable, and it is all because of this soundtrack. So it is uncomfortable. That is one adina, and it would get rid of this samadhi chitta. That is one adina. And if you die while listening to this or while getting attached, clinged on to this kind of a, let's say, a karma song with a distorted meaning or something, that would not lead to a good outcome or a good life. Afterlife would be bad. Oh, likewise, you can think in different ways. If you get angry, then you think, if I get angry, that would generate bad energy, and my health in this life, my health would deteriorate, my emotional well-being would be deteriorating, and you can see various types of things, and you would get rid of that. And you can think about the first reason why you got angry, why you got attached to that soundtrack, and you can start doing vipassana on that, seeing the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature. Anicca means it is not going to end well. Dukkha means it is not going to end well. Anatta means it is not going to end well. So that is adina. So when you think about that, sometimes the object of interest is so powerful, it would not stop coming back to you. And you go for the third one. So someone is blaming you and he's just hinting, not directly saying your name or not directly pointing at you, but that person is just saying things about you in front of others, not indirectly hurting you. And you are listening to this and you get angry. Why are you doing this? Why are you telling other people without telling my name? You are still telling about myself. You might encounter instances like that. So at that point, first one would not work. You are trying to focus on Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, not going to work because the other person is passing hints on you. And the second one that is also not going to work sometimes. But the third one, you just stand up and you just leave. Just like that. That would end. Sometimes still your thoughts would be running in that direction. Oh, I left the scene, but maybe that person is still telling bad things about me. That is when the fourth one comes. So the fourth one is used in different instances. Let's say, I'll give you an example. So somebody wants to drink alcohol or buy a cigarette. Let's say he wants to smoke. So he wants to buy a cigarette, and this person is addicted to cigarettes, and he has decided that he should stop this somehow. After listening to Dhamma, he has decided he should stop smoking. So he is now sitting on the couch in the chair in his house, and this thought comes to his mind. I should have a smoke. And he starts the first one. He starts thinking about Buddha Dhamma Sangha. It does not go away. Think about Adinava. He could manage some for some time, but it comes back. And the third one, he thinks about he's just forget. He tries to forget about this thought of smoking, but it just comes back popping up. So the fourth one. So what usually one would do is he would get dressed, get the money, and sorry about that. Get the money and walk to the supermarket or wherever these cigarettes are being sold. And on this way also, this person would be thinking about cigarettes are not good, anicca, dukkha, anatta, and everything would be thought. And even though that is thought, that person is just going to the still walking, still going to the town or to the shop. So that is where the idea or the understanding about how a vijnana starts getting powerful, how a vijnana starts getting weakened is very important. So sankhara. When did sankhara started? From the moment that person thought that he should buy this cigarette or should have a smoke. That is the instance that you have created sankhara, thus strengthened the vijnana. So a strengthened vijnana would be vexatious, and the vexation would be higher, and a higher vexatious or the increased vexation of the vijnana would be forcing oneself to start sankhara in a more potent manner. So thinking might not quench that or treat that sankhara. Sankhara is like a hungry dog. So vijnana is like a hungry dog. So sankhara is the food for this dog. So you tried giving small treats to this dog, biscuits and everything. But when you give biscuits and everything to this dog, the hunger of the dog, instead of getting reduced, it increases. Hungry nature. So when the dog is more hungry, it becomes more agitated, more aggressive. So you have to give something more now. So the sankhara would have to increase as well. So initially the sankhara was just thinking, but now you cannot treat that vijnana just with thinking. You have to do something else. You have to at least talk about it. You have to at least do something about it. So you are starting to walk towards the shop or the supermarket to buy this with the intention that but still you think that you can stop this, but you can't. You have already started the vicious cycle. So this is where this fourth method comes in handy. So one would do, or one normally would do, is thinking about the end result, thinking about the anicca, dukkha, anatta nature of smoking. So you are not still smoking, you are just walking, you are just getting dressed, you are just getting the money needed, you are just walking to the shop, you are just buying cigarettes, you are just coming back to the home, and then only you would be smoking and you would be lighting the cigarette. Still you can get rid of that, but you can't, because now the vijnana is so powerful, you cannot end at that point. This is the important part here. So when you have gone that far, there's no turning back. So what we would do is, we would not be thinking about smoking. Instead of smoking, we would be dividing or separating the whole scenario into sankharas, and we are now focusing on the immediate sankhara that we are doing. We are not thinking about smoking and walking towards the shop. We are now thinking about the walking. Why am I walking? What is the purpose of me walking? I should stop walking. So you are acting on the immediate sankhara, not on the end result, because at that point it's too late. So when you are when you are starting to get dressed, you are thinking about, why am I getting dressed? I should not get dressed. This is not going well. So you are stopping the not getting dressed is easier, but not having the cigarette when it is in your hand is more harder. So you are getting rid of the immediate sankhara. So that is why it said that when you are running, you should stop running. Now you are walking. Why am I walking? So likewise, you are dividing and you are acting on the immediate one. So when you are going to when you are leaving to the shop, why am I walking? You stop walking. Now you are standing, looking towards that direction. Why am I looking at that direction? And why am I standing? I should turn back, and you are turning back and you are coming back. But your mind is still going in that road towards that shop. Why my mind is going that way? My mind also should not go that way. So you are eliminating avijja. Or let's say avijja was a person and it comes to your house and into your room. So you chase the avidya from your room. Now it's in your house, out of your room, but in your house. So you get out of the room and you chase the avidya from your house. Now it's in your garden. Now you go out, get out of the house and go into the or get into the garden, and you chase the avidya from the garden as well, and from the village or the city or the country, and from your world, and avidya would be chased. So likewise, you divide and you act on the immediate cause. So if that also does not work, then the fourth one comes. So in the fourth one, you just clench your teeth, thrust your tongue towards the upper palate, and you blame that mindset. What am I doing? That would end this problem. So that is the Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam. So I hope that is clear. I wanted to emphasize this sutta and wanted to discuss this in more detail, because I think we have more questions coming, and in one of the questions it would be easier for you to have a better understanding about that answer as well. So if you have any questions regarding this topic that we discussed, you can put those questions into the chat. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one. I hope that these examples and everything is clear.
Thank you very much, Thero, for the clarification and the answer. I think there's been one or two messages which are, I think, mostly acknowledgement of the discussion. So, as you said, if there are further questions, you may post. If not, we can.
Yeah, my other tablet has got disconnected, so I cannot see what is in the chat.
Understood. Should I read
I'll
it?
get. Yeah, I think I can read from here.
Okay.
Okay, so no questions yet. So we'll move on to the second set of questions then. Since we have got so many questions, I cannot remember what we got next. If I missed something, please let us know. Yeah, I think this is the next one we got. I am very curious about the answer to this question. When eating delicious food, supposing I felt and thought this food is delicious, despite attachment and or clinging, suffering does not appear to be an immediate result. Rather, one day or many days later, when I think of that food again and cannot eat it, I feel as if the result of dukkha has finally occurred. That is, in this case, it seems that dukkha does not occur immediately but occurs much later under certain circumstances. When I see my beloved child, it does not seem like suffering occurs immediately after seeing a lovely sight. Rather, it seems that dukkha will eventually be created if one day I really break up with those people and cannot see them from the perspective of human cognitive ability. However, as the Supreme Buddha said, if clinging itself is dukkha, so first one, the moment I see the image, I am attached to dukkha arises, and the second one, someday, the moment I no longer see the image, dukkha also arises. In other words, are both answers correct? This is one of my thoughts, that the fact that everything is so fast may be secondary core problem of moha. So that was the initial part of the question which was posted. So this is an important question. The answer to this question should be known, and is a very important part. So in the Arapati. So what was mentioned initially, when we lose something, it creates dukkha. Now that itself is enough for somebody to understand about the reason of dukkha. Now we'll get this example which is posted in the question. So the food item, some food. So you like having pizza. So you have pizza. and after some day, you don't have any cash, or the pizza place is closed, something happens, and you feel suffering. You are suffering because of that. And you get this understanding. Now, initially, pizza was something I liked and it gave so much blissful sensations to me, but now it is giving suffering sensations to me. So now all of a sudden, pizza has become a cause of suffering. So the important one, this is the first point I am going to highlight. The first point is, this is the reason or the cause of dukkha. So you have created the cause of dukkha and you don't have any control over what's going to happen. So if you have the control over it, then this would not be a problem. But it is anicca. And pizza or anything, food, images, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. That is the external, those are the external objects, as well as the internal ones. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Everything does not, we don't have any control over its cause of survival. That's why they get, our body starts deteriorating day by day, second by second, and some get meet with accidents, some get into some develop various ailments, some diseases, and various injuries. So even if one is the most powerful person in this world, most person with most money, cannot escape that reality. So you would get any so for this example, we got a pizza. So that pizza eating habit or pizza itself, everything related to this pizza story is anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So at the moment you got attached to pizza, you have already created the cause of suffering. Now we are talking in this level. What we are talking right now is the easy way of understanding, but we'll go deeper and see how you are suffering even while having the pizza. Now this is the, let's say, this is the surface. This is the surface understanding, and we'll go in depth as well. So in the surface understanding also, you can have the full understanding. You have to just understand the link between the two. Think about the sufferings you would be encountering in the future because you are getting attached to something. You got attached to pizza. Because of that pain would be inevitable, because that is whatever related to that story was anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So you are in fear that this would happen someday. Someday you would go out of cash. Someday the pizza place would be closed and pizza man would die. So I would not be able to have delicious pizza anymore. That pain is there. Now pizza would not do this example of pizza would not do a much or it would not do the correct it is not a suitable example in an extreme way. So if you get an extreme example, so something like the child or the parents. So you are attached to the parent, or the child or the relative. And if something happens to that person, something bad happens, then the suffering would come, and suffering would be in a very high intensity. And you would be suffering so bad because the clinging and the attachment was so bad. From the moment you got attached, you are in fear that something would happen to this child. Now we are now still in the surface. And in the surface also, when you are discussing only the surface, you are still suffering because you are in fear. You are not in fear about other children, children of the next house or house next door. You are not thinking about the parents of other people. If something has happened, an earthquake or a tsunami or something bad, a natural disaster or a bomb blast in the area of your where your parents were living or your relations were living, or if it was the area the school is in, or your loved ones went towards that area, then that suffering or the fear would pop up. It was all there. It was always there hidden. It was not. You have to see this with wisdom, because we cannot understand this with just feeling. Touch results in feeling. So touch is the reason for feeling. So feeling, which is a result of touch, cannot be applied here. Yes, suffering ultimately comes in the form of a feeling. But that's why we need wisdom to see the links, how the suffering occurs. Since we don't possess that wisdom, we don't see the connection between the two. When you see the connection, that attachment itself was the reason for this suffering, for this so intense suffering that I am having right now, because I am in so much fear that something might have happened to my loved ones. All of a sudden, you realize that that person, loved one, did not that disaster did not came to that person. Or he was saved. He was not affected by it. If you understood, or if you learned that from a friend or from a police station or a phone call, then you would be so relieved. That relieving part is just because you got so low just a moment before. So it's just like knocking on the head and stroking the head afterwards, so you can feel blissfulness. This is a famous example we use all the time. Otherwise, there would not be any relief. If that was not the area the child or the loved one was in, then you would not be getting relieved. The relaxation, the relief is blissful, because you are in so much pain and you are in so much in a suffering mindset, and that mindset was treated immediately with 2 or 3 words: he is fine, she is fine. You would be feeling like you are floating at that point, but only because you are so hurt, or you are so suffering a moment ago. So it is just not something worthwhile. So you are just creating something blissful in your mind by creating a vexatious body and a mind. And this vexatiousness, when it is treated, you feel blissful, but the treatment wears away as soon as it is treated. I am referring to the food item right now. So you did not have a attachment to this food item initially, but when you started having few pizzas, you thought pizza is very delicious. It is good. Avijja comes into play. And your body and mind become salayatana. And it becomes a vexatious body and a mind which craves pizza. Now that body and mind craves pizza. When that body and mind craves pizza, you have to give pizza to get rid of that craving, or in other words, get rid of that suffering. When you do that, as soon as your tongue touches the food item, Vedana or feeling is created, and that is deteriorated at that point. It does not take time for that to deteriorate. And you have to have pizza one slice after one in order to keep that sensation, because it goes away. It's just like putting, just like we have discussed in the meditation session last week, it is just like water going to the ocean. The ocean would not fill. Rivers get into the ocean, and the ocean never get filled up. There's always room. But likewise, it's insatiable. So the pizza is gone, but your vexation, if the pizza was enough to fill your belly, then temporarily subsided. But it will come back. But everything about this scenario story is anicca. So you might not have enough money tomorrow. You might not get the pizza place tomorrow. You can die tomorrow. The pizza man can't die tomorrow. Pizza place can be closed. It can go bankrupt. Anything can happen. If you are fond of these pizzas only, the pizza that is prepared by this person, then there are millions of possibilities that this can go wrong, and it is not a problem if you're not attached. That is the reason. That is the marvel of it. That is the amazing point that you can have to remember. Everything can go wrong, but it becomes your business only if attachment occurs. If there's no attachment, there might be 1,001 pizza places in this world, maybe more than that. But we don't have a problem with them going bankrupt, with those people dying. Nothing is a problem for us. But as on the moment attachment occurs, that becomes a huge problem. Everything becomes a problem. So that is the surface understanding. This much is enough to complete or to open up the eyes of wisdom and to complete the other pathway. You'd work on that and you'd go deeper on that surface understanding. But if you go in depth, at the moment you are thinking about that food item, still you are suffering. While you are having that food item, that's why Supreme Buddha said, the world is full of dukkha. Because it really is. So, about the child also, it's in that whole scenario, it was just a delusional blissfulness. Yes, the blissfulness was there in Vedana, the section of Vedana, or when the touch occurs, Vedana is created. touch is the reason for Vedana. And there are three Vedanas: Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, and Adukkha Asukha. That means neutral Vedana, blissful, and suffering. That blissful part is there. It is not, we are not going to say that is a lie. It is there. But it is not worthwhile. It is not worthy. It is not that valuable because you have to pay a much bigger price for that. That is the logic here. So when you take food, that is because you have a vexation. So we go from food back to alcohol. So if somebody is having alcohol, it is easier because many of you might not be having alcohol on a daily basis or not addicted to alcohol at least. So you would be, it is easier for someone to understand comparing a person who would be having alcohol daily and addicted to alcohol. So if somebody is addicted to alcohol, now think about two people. One is addicted to alcohol, the other one is not. So addiction means you are attached to alcohol so much. So now we are going to have the same example which was put in the chat. So instead of food, we get alcohol. So when you have alcohol right now, you feel happy, you feel blissful. And after some time, when it goes wrong, when the alcohol shop is closed, the liquor shop is closed, or when there's when you don't have money or something, now you think that suffering comes, and you don't think that before was suffering, but you think it was blissful. But in reality, that was also suffering. How does that happen? Think about the other person who was sitting next to you. He's just sitting without a problem. Now you are also sitting with the problem. Why? You have this insatiable craving to have alcohol. You cannot sit in one place. You have an attachment. You have to do something about it. If somebody, if that person, the person who is having the craving, was not given, the alcohol was not given to him. If the alcohol was not given to him, that person would be suffering. What about the person next to him? If alcohol was not given to the other person who is not addicted to alcohol, who does not want alcohol, he is not suffering. So at that point also, that person is suffering, the person who is addicted. So the person who is attached is suffering. Yes, things go right, and he gets a glass of alcohol. While he is drinking also, he has the suffering because the other person is not drinking anything and he's fine. Now you have to do the act of drinking as well. Now we are going to the depth and you are going to the finer details. So even the smallest suffering is counted here. So even the drinking part, even the swallowing part, even the asking part, even the spending, even the part where you spend money, even the part where you have to go and buy this stuff, everything is suffering. And when you compare it with the other person, he's just sitting there without a problem, and he does not have any suffering. You did that all suffering, you did all that sankhara dukkha only because you had the dukkha or the vexation. Other person does not have that vexation. The person does not need to create that dukkha, sankhara dukkha. So you drink one sip and it ends up in viparinama dukkha. And the dukkha would come back again. The vexation would start to pop up again. So you would need another sip. You would be taking the second sip. And that also would need sankhara dukkha. and would end up in dukkha, viparinama dukkha. Again, the dukkha or the vexation would come back, pop up. So this would happen up until the morning. So people would be drinking all night up until the morning, and still that is not enough for them. And the side effects, headache, vomiting, and you don't have any strength to wake up or stand up on the next day, everything would be there, and there are unspoken sufferings. Many of them are not addressed here actually. So if you have gone through that, so if somebody has gone through that, they would know what kind of a misery that they went through, all the additional sufferings that are there. So everybody thinks that they are having a blissful feeling only because when the dukkha or the vexation is treated, because a suffering is treated, suffering nature is treated back to its neutral nature, that is felt as blissful, and you get tricked by that blissfulness, which is a very unproductive way of having bliss, which is a very unwise way of having bliss. And you get tricked with that blissful nature, and you think that I am having the time of my life at this point, but yes, someday this would go wrong and suffering would come. That would not get rid of the Arya path on the samsaric journey. You have to see that even when I am having this blissful thing that I thought, at least that I thought blissful, is not really blissful. It is, in Vedana's point of view, yes, it's blissful. But with wisdom, when you think about it, you would see that it is a combination of dukkha, sankhara dukkha, and viparinama dukkha. It is the settling of dukkha with sankhara dukkha that is felt as blissful. Otherwise, there's no blissfulness. So that is two dukkha coming together to create sukha. That is like minus multiplied by minus is plus. But actually the original causes are minus, which is negative, which is suffering. And the blissful, the result which is blissful is actually delusion. It is because you have avijja and you decide with avijja that you see it as blissful. And this is what creates the sansaric journey as well. Because when you get attached, tanha pacchaya upadana pacchaya bhava pacchaya jati. And jati would be created. Whatever the jati, drinking jati, eating jati, loving jati, everything would be created. And that jati would be creating karmic energy because it's karma bhava. At the karma bhava, it would be creating karmic energy, and that would continue the sansaric journey, and we would not stop having food because it has created a vicious cycle. Cycle never stops because it is going in a circle or a loop, so it cannot end. So ending the loop is by understanding this reality, understanding that even though we thought there's blissfulness at some points of this these examples, or some point of this life cycle, lifetime, or life scenarios, actually it is a mirage. It is just like water in a mirage. It's not real. Just goes away as soon as it is created, leaving the vexatiousness. Now you would not feel you would, if you think in a point of Vedana, you'd say after having few glasses of alcohol or after having few bites from the pizza, you'd feel full and that pain would go away. But or the you would not want that. You would feel satisfied. Yes, that is right. Now for food items, even an arihat would feel satisfied after having food, because a kaya or the bodily sufferings is always there even in a arihat. So the bodily suffering is treated back to its neutrality because it's a body, and because it gets vexatious again and again, you would be getting hungry again, and you would need food again, and you would have to do this until the end of this life, if that is a arihat, and that would end. But the attachment is not there, so you don't have that mentally created dukkha or the mental vexation that you need pizza. It's the pizza that you need, and not anything else. You just don't need normal ordinary food. No, I don't. I only need pizza, and that is vexation, and that would start creating sankhara. Now you have to earn more. Now you have to go and go an extra mile to buy this food, and you have to pay extra money to buy this food. And since it is out of attachment, you are in fear whether the place is closed. I heard that the place is closed today, but we'll go and see. I hope the place is open. You are praying and you are in fear, and you go there and the place is somehow open. Now you feel more happier because the vexation was treated, just like the example we discussed earlier. So vexation is treated. Now you buy the food and you have the food, treating your vexatious mindset by doing sankhara. And the combination of those two would create happiness, blissfulness. But as soon as it is taken in, viparinama dukkha comes. So you keep on ingesting food until your bodily need for food is gone. So when that happens, your mental vexation subsides temporarily until you become hungry again. And then the cycle continues. And this is how you have to understand. So try not to think with the Vedana you are facing, but try to think beyond that Vedana and try to think with wisdom and see what is the reason for this Vedana. Whatever the Dukkha Vedana that comes at the end, the reason is created before. And that reason itself is what creates the samsaric journey. But if you think deeply, at the point when you are having that blissful feeling, is also vexatious, is also a suffering experience, but you don't have any idea whether that's the case. So I hope that that is the and that completes the answer to the question posted. If you have anything regarding that question, feel free to put that on the chat.
Thank you for your answer, Thero. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so then we'll move to the next one. So I would like to ask you one additional question out of the few questions I will ask next time. We have lived until now without knowing that all the efforts we put into form of sankhara are dukkha, or which is sankhara dukkha. Especially in situations where I can satisfy my desires as soon as I want them. The case below, etc., are difficult to view as dukkha. Walking to the water purifier and pressing the button to drink water to quench my thirst. Pressing the air conditioner button because it's too hot. I want to eat a dish that was already prepared, so I lift my fork and put it down, etc. The simpler my life, the more instances of easy efforts like this seems to occur. My questions is, under the premise that I am an effort type, if I apply Dukkhānupassana to meditation, is it correct that I need to continuously observe the meditate and with a view of dukkha from the moment I open my eyes in the morning until I close them at night? I think I need to be mindful and know everything accurately. Is this right? One out of 84,000 techniques that we have in the Pali Canon. In relation to the previous question, I would like to ask this question. So I think these two questions are related as well. So the thing is, yes, sometimes you might theoretically you would understand that it is sankhara dukkha, because what if the air conditioner starts working without you going and pressing it? So that's why they created or constructed these remote controllers. What if you had to go an extra mile, or you have to go somewhere in a let's say a public place, or you have to go a few miles in order to open or turn this air conditioner on? Now you would feel so the suffering would be so bad. You would I think no, I would just stay and bear with this pain and suffering. Hotness is okay, the warm environment is okay. I cannot go that far to turn this on. It would be your your decision. And if it comes like few feet away, now you are in the kitchen and the switch is in the living room, and you have to go few meters, let's say 10 meters. Now if the pain and suffering, or the hotness, or the warmth, suffering what you are facing right now, is the pain is more than the pain which you have to inflict, or which you have to go through in order to turn that air conditioner on. Say we'll give numbers. So your suffering level is now 10, and the pain and suffering that you have to face to turn go to the air conditioner and turn it on is 15. So you would happily stay with 10. No, I don't feel like going that far away to turn this air conditioner on, so I'll stay. And the temperature starts rising. Now it becomes 11. So from 10 it goes to 11. So it goes to 12, 13, 14, 15. Now you feel like either I should go and turn that on, or I should stay. You cannot decide. And it becomes 16 all of a sudden, because the sun is rising up and the warmth is going up, and now you feel like I'll go and turn this on. I cannot stay in this heat. So it's a transaction with suffering entities. So you have to decide what suffering you have to face. So you become so hungry. Now lifting the fork is not a problem, because it's like +1. The suffering is like the hunger is like +100. So you can do that transaction. You just put effort of very low effort, which has a suffering entity in it, but it's very low. So it's like +1. So your pain and suffering due to hunger is +100. So you do that transaction happily, but just focus on wisdom, not with the Vedana. See how it has become a problem. Everything has become a problem, or everything is an entity of suffering. So you are either you are having a transaction with suffering. You are not trading it for something good, but you are trading something suffering for something suffering. So it's a transaction between two sufferings. So let's say you are full. You're totally full. Your tummy is full, and you don't need any more food. Now would you do that act of feeding your mouth, or would you lift that fork, which is +1 suffering? No, because you now feel that suffering also as suffering. So it's a transaction. Now I hope you get the pattern here. So now these types of sufferings can stay, because you have to have this. Now this is where the things that we discussed earlier in the first question comes as well. So we have to have a practical approach after understanding these core theories, core Dhamma points. We have to have a practical approach on how to tackle this problem of raga, dosa, and moha. Now, applying this to everything is also a method, but that is a method that can only be practiced by a person with very high level of wisdom, just like Uggatithanya, just like Sariyut Thero. They can end this sansaric journey in like 1 week, because they have that necessary mindset, the necessary samadhi, and necessary sati indriya or sati organ. So they have the mindfulness, they have the samadhi, they just apply it to everything, and they get rid of this problem straight away in very less time. Very effective in their method. But not the people right now, the devotees right now, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasika, everyone does not have that capability. So we have to have a different approach. If you have that capability, if that is working, then yes, it also can work. But most of the time that might not work. If that is the case, you have to have a very practical approach to this. Now the practical approach is very nicely discussed in a sutta called, I think we have discussed this before, Vitakkasaṇṭhānasuttam. So you have a step-by-step method that you have to follow in order to get rid of this raga, dosa, and moha. So it starts with a very easy task. Now we are going to discuss what we have to do. The end of the question, at the end of the question, this is what was asked. So this is the answer for the question, what was asked at the end of the description. So what do we have to do? Initially, raga, dosa, moha is the problem. Now we know the two things, which is kusala and akusala. So akusala does not help. Akusala, in fact, would blunt our mind, blunt our concentration or samadhi, and it would not do anything. The end results or the consequences also will not be anything good. So we have to get rid of akusala first. So akusala means the 10 unwholesome acts. That is the basic level that one should achieve. Should not hurt anybody, even mentally. Mental hurting is also falls under that, because we have not discussed what an arihat has with regard to the first siksha. First siksha is panatipata veramani sikkhapadam. So in the first siksha, you would stop from hurting, killing, and the hurting has two areas, two arms. One is mental hurting, other one is physical hurting. Both is not practiced. So you keep all the weapons you have. What are the weapons? You have maybe guns, then various other weapons, knives, swords, and other weapons that canes and everything that can be used to hurt somebody. And our mouth is also a weapon. So we also keep out those words that would hurt somebody else. So we refrain from doing that. Not only that, that is sabba papassa akaranam. That is only one arm. That is only one side of the method. The other side is kusala suppasampada, which is you have to have a metta chitta. So you have to practice metta. So instead of hurting, you are practicing metta. Sabba bhuta hitanukampi viharati. That is what we are going to practice. So we become very kind and comforting in our way, of course, towards the worldly beings. They're not going to hurt. So that is one. The second one, you're not going to take other people's stuff with a negative or with a dark mindset of stealing. So you do not have that intention of stealing and hurt other people. So the third one, which is having unethical, immoral relationships, because that would hurt people. So if you practice the first one fully, you would be practicing everything. So you would not be hurting anybody in that way, because if something is anicca dukkha anatta, there's no point. It is pointless, valueless. Why would somebody go for something valueless and pointless and hurt somebody else in the process? So that would not be practiced. Those are the three that is done by bodily actions. Then musavada. Then there's the parusavacha, pisunavacha, sampappalapa. Those are the other four. So lying, slandering, use of harsh words, use of meaningless words, which is something like gossiping. So those are also not practiced. So if you have to know that each of these entities, or the 10, has 4 sections, or it is divided into 4 subcategories. So we'll discuss about that as well. So now, abhijja, which is jealousy. Abhijja, the most of it is jealousy. So everything should happen to me and not to someone else. Everything good, not bad. Everything good should happen to me and not to others. If something good happened to others, that person becomes so upset. This is the nature of jealousy. So you try to do something about it. You try to destroy that person's happiness, destroy that person's wealth, because you don't have it. And you feel so jealous that if the other person becomes, let's say, he becomes the first, he becomes successful in education, and you become, you think, why could I achieve that? Why does that person becomes the person? There are other people. There are thousands of other people. Why this has to be him or her? That kind of a mindset is very negative, very dark, and that is a akusala, of course. And domanassa, the vyapada chitta, domanassa chitta, the conflict, the agitated, rageful, angry mindset, which is, of course, negative, dark. And the last one is the micchaditti. Micchaditti, this is not the lokottara, but the laukika one here. So you have to have the laukika one first, which is the idea about karma, consequences for actions, the idea about the knowing that there's father, mother, they are important people, they need to be treated well, and there are 10 entities in this the mityaditti, the dasavattuka mityaditti. So that is also should not be practiced. And the lokottara, when you achieve the lokottara state, or the eyes of wisdom are open, you know about anicca dukkha anatta as well. So when you know about anicca dukkha anatta, that is sammaditthi. So in that point of view, the viewpoint which is nicca sukha subha is also becomes micchaditti, and that is also should be eliminated. Now that does not become akusala in this scenario. It is just akusala becomes, when it comes to akusala, it is the dasavattuka mityaditti. But when it comes to kusala, it divides into two, which is lokottara kusala and laukika kusala. Laukika kusala, the sammaditthi, is the refraining from dasavattuka mityaditti, and when it comes to lokottara kusala, it is the understanding of anicca dukkha anatta, the elimination of nicca sukha subha, which is also a micchaditti in a lokottara way. So that is the first, that is the basis you have to have. Now that is not that hard, that is easy. You can have that. Yes, sometimes it could be harder when you are living a day life, because you have to do certain jobs, you have to have certain things in your professional careers and everything, and you have to have a competition to achieve these goals, to earn money. So sometimes some things can go wrong, but this is manageable. So the 4 entities, or the 4 arms, or the subdivisions of each akusala is, you cannot do it by yourself. You cannot ask somebody to do it, or help somebody to do it. And yeah, you cannot ask somebody to do it, you cannot help somebody to do it, and you cannot praise those kinds of actions. For example, if it is about killing, you cannot kill, you cannot command somebody to kill, and you cannot help somebody to kill, and you cannot praise the killing. That killing that person or killing that animal is good, it is now of no use. Those kinds of words are also false and akusala. So that makes this 40 akusala, and it becomes a tricky business when it becomes 40. So you have to think about it in depth. You have to go through you have to do a very you have to understand it, or you have to go through it a little more to understand this bits and corners that you might not have understood, or you have that might not get highlighted in this discussion, because it becomes vast when it becomes 40. So the second one, now you have achieved the first state. The second one is Indriya Bhavana, Indriya meditation. That is, you have your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and when you are using your eyes, always protect your eye. This is the same for all the other 5 as well. Protect the eye from what? From the things that would generate raga, dosa, and moha. You have to, when you have to have a guard, and that comes with samma sati. So you are not just looking at everything that you see. You are just trying to protect your eye from bad, negative images, because that would be the food for the vijnana, and when the vijnana are strong and developed, it is harder for someone to achieve samadhi. So samadhi samadhi creates the yatha bhuta jnana dassana, or the reality is understood by the samadhi, or the sila samadhi panya is the sequence. So you have to have a better protection on these 6 organs. So when you go and look, when you see that it creates raga, you have to refrain from engaging with those activities. If it is something that creates dosa, you have to refrain from getting into those kinds of activities. And when you know that your weakness is that, you can use that to do vipassana meditation on those points, because when you detected that raga, this is my weakness, that is my weakness, then see Dhamma as anicca dukkha anatta. Use the anapana sati, digang va sasanto digang asasamiti pajanati, and digang va pasasanto digang pasasamiti pajanati. So use that as well. So the second step is not that hard, but when these steps are followed one by one after one, so you achieve the first goal, then you go to the second one, it is very easy to achieve. And the third one is, after you have achieved or you can say practiced Indriya meditation for some time, now you have a ability, or you have achieved the or you have got the nick of it. Now you can go to the next one, which is the third one. Is you have to be aware of what you take as food. So you have to become now, if somebody is taking food more than needed, several meals a day, not because of hunger, but because you like having things, you like to have your belly filled. So if that's the case, now you have to be mindful. Why am I taking food? I only take food to complete the Vare journey. Otherwise, if attachment has happened, if I am taking more than needed, then it would make me sleepy. It would make my vipassana more harder, and the attachment to food would not be helping at all. So you are not thinking about the attachment to the taste, because it is down below in the pathway. Now we are still focusing on the amount. So you have to have the correct amount. Now for monks, it is 1 or 2 meals a day, and you have to skip the, as preached by Supreme Buddha, skip the evening meal. So it would be easier for somebody to practice, because the sleepiness after having a dinner would not come, because if you achieve this step, the next step would be easier, which is you have to limit your sleep as well. Now, this is actually preached for monks. So this might not suit for everybody, especially upasaka level, because you are just you are practicing this Arya pathway with other normal work as well. So have these important points in your mind, so it would help to have a personalized methodology which suits you. These are the points that has been preached by Supreme Buddha. So we can get the points, we can understand logical that is, and we can apply that to our pathway. So you can create your own pathway that is tailor-made to your custom needs. So the next one is actually reducing the sleep. So it says like 4 to 5 hours of sleep, but you can have more sleep because you are, of course, having a job and having normal things to do as well. So, but the thing is, the important point here is the sleep should not be something that comes with attachment. Sleep is because you feel sleepy, you feel tired, not because you like sleeping. So some people are sleepaholics. So they like to sleep a lot. If something is not, if there's nothing to do at the place or at the house, you just like sleeping. So that should not happen. You should get out of that mindset if somebody is having that mindset. So that completes 4 components. And the next one is sati sampajanya. So you have to think about the 4 main postures: sitting, standing, sleeping, and walking. So for these 4 postures, as well as the minor postures that you have in between, lifting your arm, raising your arm, putting your arm down, and saying things, thinking about things, and when you are eating, when you are going to the washroom, and everything, you have to be aware that whether you are doing something of raga, dosa, and moha. Let's, for example, if you are thinking about going to the neighbor's house and gossip about something, now you are going to stand up from your chair after having that thought. Now, if you have the kaya gata sati, or if you have this what do you call sati sampajanya, you would be thinking, why am I going to stand? I am going to talk with that other person, and I am not going to talk anything regarding Dhamma. I am going to gossip about something, and this is going to go to 10 akusala as well. I am going to maybe stand about somebody as well. So no, I am not going to do that. So that is kaya gata. So why am I going to stand? Now I'm going to go and listen to Dhamma. Okay. Now allow that. When the reason is not suitable for RM, do not allow that. If that's suitable, or if that increases vitara, vita dosa, and vita moha nature, if that increases kusala, if that develops the kusala, then allow that. If that does not increase or develop kusala, instead increase or develop akusala, then do not do that. That is easy. But achieving this 100% might be hard. Don't get disheartened or disappointed. Do in a way that is that you can. So if you start with something, let's say 10% of accuracy, you're not going 100%, but you can have this method with a 10% efficiency. So go for that, because from that you would go to 11%, 12%. And when you do that, your all the components of the Ariyatangika Magga would be developing. Samma Sati would be developing. Samma Vayama would be developing. Samma Samadhi would be developing. And everything would be developing. And when this develop, you would be able to practice this more easier. So don't apply this to very, very finer, minor details, because we have to act. You have to go up a staircase, and you cannot put your foot on the stairs which is high up above. You just have to put the foot on the stairs which is very near to, immediately next to you. So likewise, focus on the bigger and stronger problems, bigger, intense problems, raga, dosa, and moha in you. And when you settle those things, it is just like when there are a lot of big rocks falling on a pond, you would not be able to see the bottom, because these are big rocks, and it would have water splashing all over the place, and you cannot have a still water surface to see the bottom. But if you get rid of these bigger rocks, now only smaller ones are falling. Now it is a bit clearer than before. When you get rid of that level of stones as well, now it is becoming smaller and smaller. When it becomes smaller, the more clarity you would have in seeing the bottom of the lake bed. So likewise, apply this on bigger problems. Put your whole focus, 100% focus on the bigger ones, so they would go vanishing sooner. So you can apply it on the smaller, minor details as well. So the thing is, now you have achieved up until the Sati Sampajanya. Now after Sati Sampajanya, now is the time go for this what do we call jhana. So jhana is the result of all this, not the other way around. You achieve dana and then the other things come. No, jhana is the end result of what we discussed up until now. So vivicchehi kame, now that has been achieved. Viviccha akusalehi dhamme, now that also has been achieved. Now comes savitakkan, savicharang, vivekajam, piti sukham, patamajjana, upasampajja viharati. So all the characteristics of patamajjana, or the first jhana, is achieved only because you have completed the first two requirements, which is vivicchehi kamehi, vivicchehi akusalehi dhamme. Vivicchehi kamehi was achieved with indriya meditation and sati sampajanya. Viviccha akusalehi dhammehi was achieved with the first one, which is avoiding 10 immoral actions or unwholesome deeds. So that is, when you do that, we have discussed about how it becomes a sunyagara, and how it becomes a aranya, rukkamula, how everything fits in. So this is a very easy approach. You can read on this on Ganaka Moggallana Sutta, which is there in the Majjhima Nikaya. So it would help as well since you like reading and referring to this Pali Canon. So that is, when you achieve these four jhanas, they are just byproducts of what we have just discussed. And these byproducts are very helpful, because it creates the perfect environment for you to we do the vipassana meditation. When the savitakka savichara piti sukha ekaggata is there, your body is neutral. It has become so neutral that you don't feel any need to go out or have something or have food or have anything else that might be because of a vexation in the body. So the vexations are all gone, and you can forget about your body and you can think about more about the vipassana. So it would help, and the concentration is so high you can think deeply. So for some people, you might not need that much of concentration to complete the Arya pathway, but for some you need. So anyway, this is a part of the Arya pathway as well. So it's better to start with the beginning, and when you don't focus on these byproducts, you just focus on Nibbana. What is Nibbana? Etang santang etang panitang yadidan sabba sankara samato sabbo padipati nisaggo tanhakyo virago nirodho nibbananti. That is the end result. I hope you have the understanding about this Pali text, and that explains the Nibbana. Don't focus on anything else but Nibbana. When you have that end result in your head, everything, every other thing would fall into place. So that's why it says when you have the eyes opened, eyes of wisdom are opened in you, there's nothing else that is needed. Other additional help would be additional and would help the external help would help you much in completing the RA journey with less time. Or you can complete it with complete it easier because you are getting help and getting guidance from others, but that is just optional. You just don't need that. It is not essential. And when you achieve this jhana, the vipassana would be more powerful. And even if you don't have that, you have achieved the basics. So the viviccehi kama and viviccehi akusala dhamma is achieved. So kama chanda vyapada china midda uddhacca kucca vicikicca vichada nivarana, or the covers that cover up the Arya pathway, would be gone. And when that is gone, the vipassana would come automatically. So that is the Arya pathway. So don't try to rush to the end. Just try the methodical pathway, and it would take time because we have been developing these defilements all our sansaric journey. So it would take time. You have to decide what to act on first, the bigger defilements, and when the bigger ones are gone, you would feel that peace. You'd feel that nibbana. You would feel the sufferings are gone. When the sufferings are less, that less suffering nature or sufferingless nature is what is seen as blissful. Not something you feel with Vedana, but with something you feel with wisdom. Now all the sufferings are gone because the attachment is gone. So that is what I wanted to tell you about that question. So any questions regarding the things we discussed today?
Thank you very much, Thero, for that explanation. Thero, do we have any further questions for the day, or they can?
I think we have a few more questions, more than one. So we don't know whether the time might be so late for everyone.
Thero, there is a follow-up question, I think, in what was just mentioned. Should I read that out, or?
Yeah, I read it. I remember you mentioned about Rupa as a pattern long before. I want to know, why did you use term pattern? Yes. Now I think we can have an answer to this right now. So why I use pattern? Because there's no correct terminology in English to say the exact same meaning which is in Pali or in Sinhala. So I used pattern, which is the most accurate which I could find. So why? So this is for everything, right? So for Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, and Pottabha, and also thoughts. So thoughts, you might not understand the thing about thoughts, but you have to, you can understand from the other five, and you can just try to implicate that on the thoughts as well. So for Rupa, it's very easy. So Rupa, instead of saying Rupa, I said Rupa pattern. So instead of saying Saddha Rupa, Gandha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Pottabha Rupa, and Mano Rupa, I said Rupa patterns, Saddha patterns, Gandha patterns, Rasa patterns, Pottabha patterns, and Mano patterns. Why was that? It was said like that because when Rupa is images, how does an image form? It is because of colors. Without colors, there are no. If it is even black and white, there are two colors. If there are no colors, there's no image. So, what type of what is the association with colors? So, association is they are in different shapes, or we can say patterns. So, different patterns are what we see as different pattern of colors are what we see as images. So that is easy to understand. So that is what actually we process as well, process in our mind. So in the external world, there are we can say image patterns, and this pattern is obtained by our eye, the retina and everything, and a mental copy of that pattern is saved or created in our mind, and that is what we see. Instead of a pattern, there's nothing else. So that's why when you put dots in a specific pattern, you see recognizable patterns. So you get pins, and you put that pins in a shape of a rabbit. So the first pin is not a rabbit. Second pin is not a rabbit. Third, fourth. Now you have created only a line, and combination of these lines in curvatures and everything, maybe few pins for the nose, few pins for the legs and everything, and this would create a image that is recognizable for you based on your past data. So you retrieve your data and compare, and you see that the compatible image is of a rabbit, and you compare the rabbit with the image, and you say this pattern is what I know this pattern, and this is a rabbit. So you just recognize the pattern. It is the same for sounds as well. So this sound, these are English letters, a pattern, and a human voice pattern. If there were animals screaming as well, dogs barking, birds singing, then those also will be embedded in this soundtrack, which you are hearing from a speaker. So that is again a sound pattern of vibrations, combination of pattern of vibrations. Again, it is the same for smells. So when you create perfumes, You put different. If you see a bottle of perfume, the back of the label, you would see the label, and in the label it says 1001 ingredients in that bottle. So that smell you are having from the perfume is a combination of all those things. It is also a pattern. If you just separate it and try to inhale and try to see the smell, those would not have that recognizable smell of that specific or unique perfume. It is a combination that creates the pattern or the smell pattern. It's the same for taste. You know the pattern now, this pattern where we have been discussing. So you put salt, you put sugar, you put everything, and you put meat and other curry leaves and everything, and get a pattern. And you like this pattern, and you remember this pattern, and you want that pattern again and again. But in reality, that is a pattern coming together, a delusion, or we can say not a delusion, but an illusion created by things coming together, creating a pattern. So when you understand that, you would see there's no one unit as a beautiful or a delicious food, but it is a combination of salt, chili, maybe oil, and meat, and bread, and everything. So that helps you to divide and see through and see past the delusion or the avijja. So again, it is the same for touch as well. Touch is a combination of temperature and roughness. Maybe there are more components, but especially those two. So with the intensity of those two, it changes. If it is too hot, you would not feel the same sensation when it is cold. Those are two different patterns. You would recognize that. So likewise, in the mental pattern also, mental pattern is actually a derivative of those five: rupa, rupa, saddha rupa, gandha rupa, rasa rupa, pottabha rupa, and also there are mentally created or the thought originated or Dhamma originated ones as well. But most of the time, those are created initially with rupa, copy of rupa, which creates the manorupa, copy of saddha that creates the manorupa, and there are manorupa which is specific to mano realm as well. So that is the story of patterns. Was that clear? So I think we have got 3 or more questions. So should we do it on the next week? What should we do?
We are.
I think it will take more time because these are also a bit needs a bit of explanation also as well, not shorter answers.
In that case, Thero, maybe it might be better to take it up for next week.
Yes, we'll do that.
There seems to be a response to your question in terms of was it clear? I think.
Yes, we always recognize things depending on the past pattern with mental copies. Yeah. that is also right.
Thero, then we will take the balance questions to next week. And with that, I respectfully invite you to conduct a short anumodana and end today's session. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So today we discussed a very important few questions that are posted in the WhatsApp chat, and during this whole time we have been thinking about Dhamma and actively participating in this Dhamma discussion, trying to get rid of all the problems that you have while developing or while practicing the Arya pathway, and thinking about the reality of the world, the anicca dukkha anatta nature of the world, and trying to get rid of all the raga, dvesa, and moha, ending the sansaric journey, attaining nibbana, is the highest thing one could do in this in the lifetime, in the sansaric journey. So we have been doing that for 2 hours, and there are very few that who can do this in this if you take the sansaric journey as a whole. So we have been fortunate to get this very rare Arya Dhamma in a era where Buddha Dhamma is still prevalent. So the amount of meritorious power that we have gained by thinking or contemplating, trying to understand this Arya Dhamma is immeasurable. And with that immeasurable amount of meritorious power, may everyone get the perfect background to understand Arya Dhamma. If you have any hindrances, barriers, Kamachanda, Vyapada, Dinamitu, Tajupucha, Vichikicha, which are the covers that cover up the Arya pathway. If you have any of those things, all the meritorious power may help everyone to get rid of all the barriers and obstacles, clearing up the Arya pathway, and may everyone be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana as soon as possible with in this lifetime. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also and we'll send this meritorious power to all the sentient beings in the universe as well, especially our deceased relations, the ones who have helped us during this sansaric journey, the ones who were hurted and harmed by us during this sansaric journey, and also the ones who helped us to have this Dhamma discussion, and who are behind the scene, who have contributed to the maintenance and well-being of this temple, and also the ones who donated these electronic devices and who are maintaining the internet connections and everything, and also the deities in 6 realms of gods and Brahmas in 20 planes of Brahma. So let us remind all of them, and if they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sinful acts. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives regardless of their current place or current place. Let us transfer this meritorious power to them, and may they be happy and delighted. May they develop life, refreshness, comfort, power, and wisdom, completing the Arya pathway, ending in Nibbana. Accept this, transferring this meritorious power to all of them with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
So as always, we'll end the session with a Pali stanza with the meaning, may everyone attain life, refreshness, power, comfort, and wisdom, ending the Arya or ending the samsaric journey, attaining supreme bliss of Nibbana. Abhivadana series Nichang Vaddabjayano Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Miyajatu Nibbana Sampatti Minati Samijyatu. May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Thero, for again devoting your valuable time to explain the Dhamma to us, where we had received questions this week as well. And thank you for those who have come and joined us on time and also shared us questions so that this Dhamma discussion may happen. We will bring the balanced questions to next week. With that, we end this session. Thank you very much, Thero. Theruvan saranai. Sadhu, sadhu.
Theruvan saranai, everybody.
Teruvan saranai.
Teruvan saranai.